Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial. Today I am going to go ahead and show you how, just to show you that you can actually boot from this USB stick. This is not a mandatory tutorial or anything like that. This is just to prove that this is functional, that this method does indeed work, and that you can boot from the USB stick that we have created of Kali Linux with encrypted persistent storage. So I am going to go ahead and plug it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and power on my laptop. So I'm using a Dell laptop. For me, I need to press either F2 or F12. I'm going to go ahead and press F12 for boot options. F2 is for BIOS, F12 is for boot options on a Dell machine. If you're using Acer or HP or something of a kind, it might be different, but it will always be shown on the screen which keys can you press for which options at boot time. So you see, I've encountered this problem that I want to share with you as well. I get a screen like this when I select boot options and I cannot select the boot options. So don't immediately assume that you've done something wrong, that your USB is not functional or something of a kind. Rather, instead, what you can do is just power off the machine. No big deal. Power it back on and enter BIOS. So for me, it's F2. There is nothing that you actually need to do in BIOS or anything of a kind at the moment. You can, of course, if you wish, to select the default boot option to be the USB. F2, so come on. There we go. So I'm at the moment in BIOS. I'm going to go over to boot, and there's the legacy boot. I'm going to go ahead and press enter, and I don't see a USB here. Okay, that's fine. Just press escape several times until it says exit disregarding changes. Yes. Control Alt Del to reboot the machine practically again, and then press the boot options key. And there you go. So I have boot options now, and you see it says USB storage device. I'm going to go ahead and select it. Now I have a boot options for Kali Linux. I have booted from a USB. I'm going to go ahead and select live USB encrypted persistence, because that is the one that we have chosen to create, that I've chosen to create. And hopefully that will be suitable for you as well. So go ahead and press enter. So it's rolling and rolling, and because I have other encrypted partitions on this laptop, it's going to ask me, do I want to decrypt them as well? I will say no, but you will not encounter this because unless you have other encrypted partitions. So it's asking me to unlock SDA2. I do not wish to unlock it, so N for no. Just enter some random key or just press enter. And again, for SDA3, I do not wish to decrypt this. Just press N or yes. N is for no, and Y is for yes if you want to retry the decryption process. So no, I would not like to decrypt it. SDA3, no, thank you very much. And SDB3, I would like to decrypt because that is my USB. You need to be familiar with the partitioning scheme on your machine to know which ones do you wish to decrypt. Take a look at the output of fdisk --L as shown in the previous tutorials to figure out how your USB partition is basically, is it dev SDA or is it dev SDB or something of a kind, or it can be dev SDC and so on and so forth, depending on what it is. So it's telling me now, please unlock disk dev SDB3. I'm gonna go ahead and type in my decryption key, press enter. Don't worry if you can't see anything while you're typing. It's perfectly fine. That is the way it is supposed to be, so that somebody from behind could not actually see that you have so that somebody behind could not actually see the length of your key. A security precaution which I really like in Linux. This is not the case in Windows, unfortunately, where the length of pretty much anything that you type in, any passwords, is revealed. So I have my system now. My wireless is working. It says wireless networks available. I'm not going to connect to any of them because there's no point. The only thing that I'm going to do now is create something on my desktop, a file, and then reboot the machine so that you can see that it is that I do have persistent storage. So what do? Let's go ahead and right click on desktop, create new folder, name it whatever, press enter. So you see this folder that I'm moving around in this, and it's now sitting in the center of the desktop. That is the file which we have, that is the folder which we have created. Let me just go ahead and open it and create a new document, empty document, which will be named something. And if I open up something, I will write, I can't actually zoom in here, but it doesn't matter. I know that the image quality is poor on this cell phone, so here's what I shall do. I will do it like this, so you can see that there is something in the folder. It's complete. The contents are completely irrelevant. The only reason why I'm doing this is so that I can show you that this file will persist through reboot, and I can take the USB stick out of the machine and it will still be there. So all I've typed in is characters A on end. Let's go ahead and save that. Close. So I have a folder, whatever here. If I open whatever, I have a file called something. When I open that, I have these letters A on end. So let's go ahead and close this. And now I am going to reboot the machine, or better yet, let's power it off. So power off. Now the machine is going to shut down completely. I'm not even rebooting the machine, I'm literally just shutting it down completely. And here I've plugged the USB stick out. It's out of the machine. The machine is powered off. You can literally see that there is nothing plugged into it. There are no cables or anything of a kind. And let's go ahead and do this. There's the USB. Okay, let's plug it back in. Let's boot the machine. Gonna go ahead and enter BIOS again. The key that I'm pressing is F2 for Dell. Yours might be different, just reminding you once again. Anytime now, my good man, anytime. So let's go over to boot. Legacy, okay, I still can't see the USB here, which is perfectly fine. Exit disregarding changes, Control Alt Del, and I'm gonna go ahead and press F12 for boot options. Okay, so USB storage device, yes please, boot from a USB. Go down to live USB persistence, encrypted persistence. It will ask me to decrypt all the drives again, so I won't explain that procedure. I'm just going to go quickly through it. I'm only decrypting the USB drive. I have the option to decrypt all of my partitions on this disk, but I am not going to do that, because that would kind of beat the purpose of this whole exercise. SDB3, okay, so test. I just put in a generic key test for reference sake, because I'm going to destroy this, the contents of this USB the moment I am done with this tutorial, so I can use it for something else. And let me use this opportunity to remind everybody that you can actually ask for me in the discussion section if you would like me to show you how to create a live USB of some other Linux distribution as well. So feel free, if you want some other distribution, go into the discussion section and just say, hey Ermin, can you show us how to create a live version of this distribution, etc. And I will be happy to do it. But please select some of the major distributions. Don't go out and, for example, select Slackware or something of a kind, because that won't be very useful to you in general, although it is a fantastic, Slackware is, well, not exactly Linux as the community says, but it's fairly similar, I would say. Anyway, so it says a whatever. Let's just double click on it. And I have a file in here, something. And look, I have it's filled out with A on it. So I have managed to make a persistent live USB with encrypted storage that is greater than 4 gigabytes. That is only limited by the size of your USB. This is fully functional. It works, no problems. It's all functional. And if you have any questions or would like to request additional content on this subject, please feel free to go into the discussion section. One thing that I would like to remind you of, one more thing that I would like to remind you of, is that you should not expect that this setup will work with dual monitors or something of a kind. You can set it up through through a bit more complex procedure or something of a kind, but generally it won't work. These things were made just to be booted off laptops and to be used on such a laptop. Anyway, I bid you all farewell, and I hope to see you in the follow-up tutorials.